the worst Animal Jam update that has ever come out in the history of ever. I'm talking about everything bad that's ever happened in Animal Jam. This one's probably the worst. Why does Play Wild have to come in here and steal Animal Jam's name? Are you really that desperate to get people to play wild? That is the stupidest thing I have ever seen in my entire life.
Sorry, that was kind of a lot. Anyways, hey folks, WisteriaMoon here, and today I have a serious topic to discuss. Many of you are aware of this issue by now, but regardless, I wanted to offer my thoughts because it's something that'll be impacting the future of Animal Jam and its player base, and that issue is Animal Jam Classic. Now, I'd be lying if I said I didn't see this coming, but I wanted to wait to see how things would play out before I made a video about it. The Animal Jam community has known for a while that WildWorks, the company that developed Animal Jam, has been redirecting their focus towards their app, Play Wild, as mobile gaming becomes increasingly popular. This has led to a number of theories that Animal Jam would shut down in 2020 as the demand for desktop gaming has been drastically decreasing, and the majority of desktop players are aging out of the game. Another layer of complication was added with the shutdown of Adobe Flash in 2020. I'm not an expert on this topic by any means, but from what I know, Animal Jam is a Flash-based game. With browsers ending their support of Adobe Flash, desktop players are having a very difficult time accessing Animal Jam, and a lot of potential new players are being turned away. The whole idea behind the survival of Animal Jam was that new players within their target age demographic would join the game to replace users who quit. But between the obstacles presented by Flash and the desktop gaming decline, that's not happening now. Without new players joining Animal Jam, it isn't a sustainable game anymore for the most part. That explains why WildWorks wants to push Play Wild instead. Overall, Play Wild is a more sustainable game. The technology it's built on is more modern and adaptable. It's three-dimensional, making the animation process simpler and more streamlined. It's also accessible through desktop and mobile devices now, which increases the diversity of people able to play. And most importantly, it doesn't rely on dated technology like Flash to run. Joining Play Wild is easier than ever. Users can even start out as guests, which improves their likelihood of officially joining the game down the road. The same can't be said for Animal Jam these days, with hundreds of potential users being turned away for a simple lack of Flash compatibility in their web browser. So while the desktop version still works for veteran players like me, in the long run, WildWorks won't be able to support it to the same extent. We might have suspected from these signs that WildWorks is going to shift their focus from Animal Jam to Play Wild, but it wasn't officially announced until April 27th, 2020. On this day, Animal Jam published a post on their official Instagram account announcing an event called Amazing Migration. I'll pop the original post up on the screen, but here's a brief summary. WildWorks is officially rebranding the games we once knew as Animal Jam and Play Wild. The desktop version of Animal Jam, also known across the community as AJPC, will now be titled Animal Jam Classic. The Animal Jam Play Wild app, however, will be renamed Animal Jam, essentially taking over as the main priority of the two games. At the surface level, this is just a rebranding of the games, but the implications are great. The intent here is to actually shift Animal Jam desktop players to the mobile version, and huge incentives are being added. Animal Jam desktop players will be able to receive exclusive items in Play Wild as a reward for joining the newer platform. The rewards are higher depending on how long players had an Animal Jam desktop account for, and whether or not they were members. The hope is that having something to come into Play Wild with would encourage Animal Jam desktop players, who had spent a lot of time and effort building up their desktop inventories, to transition. Additional incentives for all Play Wild players will be added during the month of May with daily login rewards. Luckily for Play Wild users, things are essentially business as usual. Unfortunately for desktop players though, things may be taking a turn for the worst. I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but things aren't looking too great for Animal Jam Classic. Even though it's not shutting down, it's not going to be updated nearly as much as Animal Jam Mobile, since it's WildWorks' secondary focus. The accessibility of Animal Jam Classic has been further reduced as well, with many players citing login issues once the update officially rolled out. I personally have yet to experience this since I haven't seen the update firsthand yet. However, I'm going to be giving you guys my live first impressions now. Alright folks, so here's my very delayed reaction to all the new updates that have come to Animal Jam. So as you can see right now, I'm on the home screen of animaljam.com. First thing I've noticed right off the bat is this Animal Jam logo change. I'm definitely going to attribute this to a nostalgia thing, but I think one of my least favorite parts about this update is the fact that Animal Jam changed their logo. So now there's no longer a ladybug on the Animal Jam logo, but it's been replaced with a butterfly. Now that's not to say that it doesn't look cute and all, but I was very emotionally attached to the ladybug, so I'm a little bit sad about that. Anyway, the interesting part is figuring out how to navigate navigate this new interface. So as you can see, when we enter the site, we're prompted to download the game Animal Jam. So if we click that button, as you can see, this Play Wild installer popped up. So it would appear as though WildWorks hasn't sorted out everything with that yet, because the game that they've renamed Animal Jam is still called Play Wild in the installer. But yeah, basically the implication here is that Animal Jam is now Play Wild. And naturally you can download it to your computer here, but you can also download it on the App Store, Google Play, Amazon, and yeah, here's the Mac and PC link, even though I'm pretty sure that's the same as this download link. So yeah, that's really interesting. However, as we scroll down, here we'll find the Animal Jam Classic link. And then of course to the right we have membership, but yeah, the main call to action is downloading Play Wild still. Anyway, let's go ahead and click the AJ Classic experience. So first and foremost, we're again prompted to download this app onto our physical computers. There is no App Store link because this game is purely a desktop experience. It is not suitable for mobile gameplay, but luckily if you can't download the game, you can still apparently log in here. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that just to see how this game is working in the browser, even though I do have Animal Jam Classic downloaded and installed to my computer. So I've gone ahead and signed in, and of course we still have this flash issue, so I'm gonna go ahead and allow flash and reload the browser tab. We can also go ahead and full screen this, but yeah, everything pretty much appears to be the same. Daily spin's working okay, so yeah, that's nice. Personally, I am not sure how long we're going to be able to play Animal Jam on our browsers for. I don't know if this feature is going to go away once flash support fully ends, or if they're just going to keep this ability to log in through the browser indefinitely, but I do know that WildWorks is heavily pushing us to install the desktop Animal Jam app. I'm not as big of a fan of the desktop app as I am with the browser experience. I've always preferred to log into Animal Jam through my browser, probably because I'm a classic jammer, and yeah, I just like the kind of experience I've always had with this game. But now let's go ahead and check out the Jamad journal to see what Animal Jam has said about this in the actual game. Animal Jam is now AJ Classic. So basically this little paragraph right here is saying something very similar to what Animal Jam posted on their official Instagram page. So I'm not actually going to be reading this, but the overall essence is that in light of Animal Jam's 10-year anniversary, they're switching the Animal Jam desktop experience to Animal Jam Classic, and they're also renaming Animal Jam Play Wild to just Animal Jam. They're also asking anyone who sees this to download Animal Jam Mobile, aka Play Wild, to retrieve their special login bonuses and rewards that they'd be getting for trying out the new game, which is pretty cool. And then along with all of this, we have our standard Animal Jam Classic updates with recycled animal appearances, membership promos, and new pets. So yeah, it appears that overall not much has changed, which is pretty much as expected. However, I do want to take a moment to log into Animal Jam Mobile. That's just what I'm going to be calling Play Wild from now on, just to make things a little easier. But yeah, I'm going to be logging into Animal Jam Mobile and seeing what comes up there, because I'm curious to see if anything's changed. And I've also barely used the desktop version of Animal Jam Mobile, so I'm really curious to see how this is going to work out. The Animal Jam Mobile app is still called Animal Jam Play Wild. I'm wondering if I'm going to have to update this. It must have updated on its own because this looks pretty new to me. Oh, and yeah, the application title also changed in the upper corner of my computer. Now let's go ahead and click through all this stuff. Your weekly member gift, Fire Wings. Amazing. You've logged in one time this month. All right, let's give this a little spinneroni, and we've got 100 gems. Fantastic. So it looks like I have definitely missed out on a lot of May login rewards, since this is definitely not the first day of May. Today is actually May 7th, so that's somewhat unfortunate. Another thing I've noticed is that I've somehow been completely exempt from the login rewards that you're supposed to get as a player who's transitioning from Animal Jam to Play Wild, and presumably that's because I've been more active on Play Wild than the average Animal Jam desktop player, so maybe the algorithm missed me, I don't know. That part I find a little bit sad, because I would have liked to see what rewards I would have gotten for switching over to this new platform, just so that I could give you all a little preview of what that might look like. But now I genuinely have no idea. So if you have an Animal Jam Classic or Animal Jam desktop account and you're interested in logging into Animal Jam Mobile / Play Wild for the first time, I would definitely recommend using the same account information so that you can get the most optimal prizes possible, and hopefully you'll get some good stuff, unlike me. I got nothing. RIP. I'm also already struggling with the names. I feel like I've been unintentionally saying Play Wild through half of this recording, but it's just so hard. It's such a difficult transition. That's definitely something that I'm going to be struggling dealing with a lot in the next couple months because as someone who has been playing Animal Jam Classic since 2011 and someone who's been playing Animal Jam Mobile since it was in beta testing, it's just really weird for this game to now be called Animal Jam and the other one to be called Animal Jam Classic. It's just going to be such a difficult transition. Another weird thing about this game is that while it is desktop compatible now, which is a huge perk, don't get me wrong, it's really changed the game for me, but you can definitely tell that it's mobile optimized, so everything is kind of designed with the intent of it being a mobile game. So it's definitely a different kind of experience than Animal Jam Classic, and I think that's why I've been having such a hard time transitioning personally. If you want my true thoughts on Animal Jam Mobile, definitely comment below and let me know, because that is something that I would like to offer all of you if you'd like to hear it. But yeah, in the meantime, I guess all I have to say is this is going to be a very interesting transition for me. And without further ado, I want to get back to the meat of this video and offer some more detailed opinions about this transition and the future of the Animal Jam game franchise, I guess you could call it. So yeah, without further ado, let's hop into that. So, as you might have imagined, the Animal Jam community's response to these changes were anything but positive. Personally, my take on the situation is that the Animal Jam community feels that their voices aren't being heard. While Animal Jam Mobile may be experiencing greater growth, that doesn't change the fact that Animal Jam Classic has an extremely dedicated player base that's been supporting the game since its glory days. Seeing WildWorks shift its attention towards the newer Animal Jam Mobile platform has been disheartening for all of us. It's apparent that Animal Jam Classic has been receiving fewer high-quality updates, and many of the game's most influential players and creators have left due to the lack of content to work with. Classic players were also never given a reason to adapt to Animal Jam Mobile while it was in its infancy. We failed to realize that Animal Jam Mobile would become the future of Animal Jam, so none of us dedicated the time and energy towards building and trading in Animal Jam Mobile that we should have. Maybe I'm speaking more from personal experience at this point, but it's pretty disappointing to see this new shift in focus when I've spent so much time earning what I have on Animal Jam Classic. That said, I think it's important to consider that everything happens for a reason. Times change and technology adapts, whether we like it or not. I'm sure that WildWorks would have loved to sustain Animal Jam Classic to the same extent as Animal Jam Mobile. However, from a business standpoint, it doesn't make sense to invest all the resources it takes to update a game that's experiencing a gradual decline in players. I know a lot of people blame WildWorks for the player decline because the Animal Jam Classic updates have been so lackluster, but I'd argue that the decline has actually come from decreasing interest in desktop gaming and the end of Flash support in 2020. These factors were completely outside of WildWorks' control, so it only makes sense for them to invest their energy in mobile gaming. After all, mobile gaming is widely considered to be the future of the gaming industry, with projections claiming that it'll generate the largest portion of total gaming revenue worldwide by 2021. I've noticed that the Animal Jam community tends to take a cynical view towards WildWorks and their game updates. As a player and community member first and foremost, I can completely sympathize with this perspective, but my true belief is that WildWorks cares about their players. If they didn't, they'd most likely shut Animal Jam Classic down for good given the circumstances. However, in an effort to appease their most loyal players, they've not only kept the game running in spite of operational hurdles, but they still intend to update it too, just less often than Animal Jam Mobile. When this rebranding effort was initially announced, the backlash was extreme. Some players even created a change.org petition to reverse the changes, even though the only real difference from this update was a name and logo swap. What I'm trying to say is, as a community, we need to be more open to change from time to time, myself included. I've been resisting playing Animal Jam Mobile for years, but my resistance has kept me from learning and adapting to a game that might have actually been fun. It'll be a weird adjustment for me, but I'd like to explore Animal Jam Mobile more in depth over the next few weeks to see if there are any aspects of it I prefer to Animal Jam Classic. If anyone watching this video hasn't tried Animal Jam Mobile yet, now is probably the time. Even if you've tried it and it wasn't your thing, Animal Jam Classic is still up and running like old times. Ultimately, we can choose to be upset about this update if we'd like, but it won't change anything that's happened. Personally, I'm just going to be doing my best to adapt to the new direction with a particular focus on Feral, since that game is better suited for my age range anyway. But I'd also love to know your thoughts in the comments below. What do you guys make of these changes? Does this make you more interested in trying Animal Jam Mobile, Feral, or will you forever remain a classic jammer? Hopefully I haven't been too harsh in this analysis because, trust me, I understand the outrage. My goal here was simply to offer a new, all-encompassing perspective on the situation to help inform the community's opinions. So with that, folks, thank you all so much for watching. I really hope that you enjoyed this analysis, and let me know if you'd like me to make more videos like this in the future. As always, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.